Hello, my name is Rich Barker, and my wife absolutely adores tea. So I'm going to show you how to make a great cup of coffee. So really quick background on me. I started making coffee when I was 15 years old, about 10 years ago, and they threw me right into the deep end. I started making lattes and Americanos and mochas and the whole 9 yards, and so I've just been doing it ever since. I worked in a bunch of coffee shops and done it at home. It's just a huge passion of mine. So I'm just going to show you that it's simple to make a great cup of coffee. Really quick, we're going to start with some setup. One of the things you're going to want to make sure is that, first off, you have all of your proper materials. You have a scale, a vessel to pour into, a vessel to drink out of, a pour-over kettle, specifically a pour-over kettle. It's going to be necessary. And you're preferably going to want one that can set the temperature, because your water temperature is very important, and we'll talk about that later. Finally, you're going to want your coffee. And you're going to want to check the grind size of your coffee. If you can do it at home, great, that's awesome. I would highly recommend you being able to do it at home, and you're going to want to make sure that your coffee grounds look about the size of kosher souls. I heard that from Stumptown Roasters. They have a video on YouTube on how to do a Chemex pour over, and that's probably the best reference point that I've ever heard for coffee grind size. Next thing you're going to want to do is to prep your vessel. If you're doing a Chemex like me, you're going to want your trifold filter. You're going to want to put the 3-prong fold over on the funnel side of the Chemex. Then you're going to take your water, about 195 to 205 degrees, and you're going to pour over on the paper filter. This gets all that residual paper taste out of there, and it soaks up the water, makes it stick to the side of the vessel, and gets it ready. It also warms up the vessel, which is really important because you don't want to shock your coffee. Shocking your coffee means you take this nice, warm, delicious coffee, pour it into a cold vessel, and when it shocks it, it drastically reduces that temperature and takes away a lot of that delicious flavor. You're going to pour this water out. Then, take your coffee and put it on your scale into that nice, wet filter. You're going to want to use about a 1 gram of coffee to 16.6 grams of water ratio. So here we have prepped 20 grams of coffee, and then you're going to go ahead and pour your first pour. You're going to want to soak up your beans, get them all nice and wet. This is going to take about 50 to 100 grams of water. You want to make sure you don't pour down the sides, because you don't want water just rushing right through to the bottom of the vessel. You want to make sure you're soaking up that coffee, getting all of those flavors. And this is what we're going to get called the first bloom. You're going to get a nice light color. It's going to bloom up, hence the name bloom. And then it's going to all settle down. When it all settles down and all the water's going through, you're going to take a little stir stick. You're going to want to move it around to make sure all that water goes down and make sure all of those grinds are nice and soaked. The easiest part comes next. You just take the rest of your water and you pour it until you reach your proper measurements. We're going 332 grams. And you want to make sure that this whole thing is going to be a nice light color throughout. If you have any dark spots or anything popping back up, just make sure you hit that with your water. Nice concentric circles the entire way through. And then when you're done with this, you're going to want to do the same thing to your cup that you did to your vessel. You want to make sure that you warm it up, because again, you don't want to shock that coffee. Get it nice and warm. And then as you're waiting for this to pour, you can go do whatever you need to do, make some toast, do a dance, or whatever, do some push-ups, get your cardio in. But while we're waiting for this to pour, I'm going to talk to you guys about some of my inspiration. Recently, a book by Brian Jones called Brew. It's a really, really great resource on home brewing and how easy it can be, some of the science behind it. Just a really cool resource to have at home, kind of an authority on the subject, and just a really good way to dive in. And it's really not that intimidating. Like, you can go and you can buy Mr. Coffee from Walmart, or you can go and spend a little extra money and wow your friends, wow yourself on pouring in this really aesthetic vessel, getting a nice, consistent, beautiful, bright, vibrant cup of coffee. And just makes your morning just a little bit that much better. You know, it gives it that little oomph, it gives it that little kick. And soon it'll go from just being a routine to something that you can be passionate about and enjoy and share with others, just like I get to share it with you guys today. So then once this is done, once all this water is poured through, make sure that we don't have any excess water in your cup. Done that once or twice, and you get really watery coffee. That's disgusting. Pour that away. Take the rest of your coffee. Those empty grounds, if you are into composting, you can compost. Feel free to do that, save the earth. But I'm going to throw it away. Pour it into your cup. And then enjoy your coffee. Hot. Thank you.